Here are 5 tips you need to know for the next time you rent out a studio for your photo shoot. Hey, how's it going? My name's Mercedes. I'm a photographer based out here in Toronto, Canada. And today I'm just gonna share with you 5 quick tips on everything that you need to know when you rent out a studio, whether it's for a branding shoot or just a photo shoot or content creation. But I'm gonna share with you my tips, and I'm actually gonna play you some behind the scenes footage of me in action from my last shoot, because I know that has been highly requested. So with that said, let's get right into it. So my first tip that you're gonna wanna remember is your camera. You're gonna wanna bring your gear, you wanna bring your best gear. I bring my Lumix camera with the 35 to 100 millimeter lens. I also use the 25 millimeter lens. And funny enough, in my last video, I think I even said I don't use my 25 millimeter a lot. But for this shoot, you'll see in the video that I actually did use it quite a bit. So you'll want to make sure, no matter what camera you have, no matter what collection of lenses you have, you'll want to make sure that you bring a good range of lenses, so that way you have different options and you can really have a variety of shots throughout the shoot. So yeah, make sure you bring your gear and whatever you feel comfortable with shooting, and make sure you bring a variety of lenses. My second point is, make use of the studio space. So you'll find with studios that they do have a lot of props and they are generally big. And this kind of gives photographers the opportunity to photograph in settings that they may not have the opportunity to at home or at another studio, because each studio is unique into the setup that they have. But you want to make use of everything. So you're going to have your studio for an allotted amount of time, and you want to make sure you hit every single point in that studio. Even if you think that you're not going to use a certain section of the studio, I can tell you right now, you are probably going to use it. It's probably better that you go and photograph in spots that you don't think are actually going to turn out good, just because you don't want to be in post-editing and actually regret not shooting in a certain place and thinking, oh, it would have been a good idea if we did a shot here and here. So you really want to make sure that you're utilizing the entire space of the studio and use everything that they have. My third point to having a successful branding shoot in a studio, I would definitely say, is don't be afraid to get right in there, okay? Don't be afraid to show your model or show your client exactly what you're looking for from them. Don't be afraid to kind of explain yourself. Don't be afraid to, actually sit there and model and show the pose that you want. Because this is going to show that you actually care about the photo shoot, and your client is going to value your opinion. Because they're going to come in with a lot of doubt. They're going to sit there and say, oh, well, is this okay? I don't know. So your reassurance and your opinion on a certain pose is going to make them feel a lot more comfortable. So you have to make sure that you're getting in there and coaching them. My fourth tip would be, to hire someone who does videography and can do some behind the scenes for you. So the reason why I say this is because, one, if you as a photographer double down with a videographer, you can now charge more and charge a value package. So you're not going to just charge your rate, you'll charge the videographer's rate, and then you can therefore charge your client more, because they're going to get photos and videos and behind the scenes content that they can now use for their social media, YouTube, and you can use it as well. So it's kind of a win-win situation. So whenever you're working in, a different type of studio, or you rented out a studio, try and hire a videographer to come capture some behind the scenes, because money aside, it also just shows the client that you care and that you're actually putting a lot more effort into into the shoot, and you want to create this experience for them, and adding a videographer just enhances the overall experience for them. It also just kind of gives you some cool content that you can play around with, especially in your social media and, your business. You can make promo videos, you can use social media, put them on YouTube. So it's kind of a win-win, like I said. So try and hire a videographer to capture some behind the scenes. That way they focus on that and you can focus on taking the pictures. My fifth and final tip before we get to all the videos is have fun with it. You know, I can't stress this enough. You have the studio for an allotted amount of time. So let's say you book it for 2 hours. In the first hour, you want to make sure that you really double down and get the shots that you need, get the shots that the client is paying for, you know, really make sure that you've got all your areas covered. And you should only really need an hour to do that. And that's including outfit changes, that's including, you know, any setting changes, etc. Now, when you have extra time, so if you book the studio for 2 hours and you finish everything in an hour, that last hour is where you can really experiment with things. So you can practice new poses, you can try new things with your camera, you can try new shots that you want to do, and your client will be open to it, believe me. They love trying new things, especially when you're enthusiastic about it. So you can kind of give that last hour, even last half an hour, however much time you have after, to kind of experiment with new things and new concepts. And you as the photographer, you can even get in front of the camera as well. That's always a fun time, you know. My last client that you're gonna see here, he wanted some merchandise modeled for him, and so we had probably 45 minutes left to kill, so I, you know, put on the t-shirt and got in front of the camera and modeled some of the merchandise. So, you know, there's a lot of things you can do with some extra time. So this point kind of wraps into some of the other points I said, but the point is, have fun with it, experiment things. If you have extra time, don't just leave the studio early, you know, try and make use of it and just try new things as a photographer, because like I said, your client's gonna love it, especially if you're enthusiastic about it, and it kind of just gives you more time to enjoy the space. And you actually might even come up with some concepts that you weren't thinking of beforehand. Anyways, those are my 5 quick tips. So hopefully you enjoyed that. And now to continue on with this video, I have a quick montage of me in action when I'm photographing, because that has been highly requested. So I hope you enjoy. Before we get to that, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this and see if you guys have any more tips that you can share with everybody else. Yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, follow me on socials. They're all linked below, and enjoy.